to me, it's such an image of just how fragile and how small and delicate and how needy they are at that stage. And all of us probably have people in our lives that are sort of just either physically, but I'm thinking more now spiritually, who are in a place where they're just barely tiptoeing their toes in the spiritual waters. They're just starting out in the spiritual life, and they just need that constant nourishment and that care and almost that just tenderness of just really gently caring for them at that stage.
Yeah.
When you think about the people God has placed in your life, some younger, some older, some right beside you, how do you know what they need from you? Or think about it this way. Who are you supposed to be nurturing? Who are you supposed to be learning from? And who are you journeying with alongside, shoulder to shoulder in this walk together? Before we're done today, I want to give you 4 categories to think about for your relationships. This is Season 2, Episode 38 of Unhurried. I'm your host, Doug Kyle. Ryan is with me in the studio.
Hello.
Hey, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good.
Good.
You know, Unhurried is supposed to be like sitting down, having a cup of coffee together after a sermon, talking through some of the things that we've discussed, going a little deeper, a little beyond what we can cover on a Sunday morning. So this is a great opportunity. You and I have a chance to maybe, we're a little bit more in the front end of bringing it on Sunday morning, you with worship and me with the word. But here we kind of can sit back, have a more relaxed approach to it, kind of think through it a little bit and make it more conversational.
Sure. Yeah, I Sundays I'm always like, I always feel like it's just such a sprint, I'm going from like one thing to the other, and then I I'm also, still a parent. So it's like my kids still need things.
You got a few things going on.
I've got a couple things going on, so, but it's great. It's fun. And then I help out with the youth worship sometimes on Sundays, I'm just running around with my guitar all morning long, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So it's all good.
But I do feel like the difference between Sunday and Monday is just a totally different mode.
Yes.
Sunday we're on, we're engaged,
sure.
we're a little bit on schedule, and this Monday morning, and now it's like Monday afternoon actually. We can be a little more relaxed,
totally,
and a little more conversational, and kind of just let it linger with it a little bit.
Exactly. And I don't know about you, but I know there's some people that shy away from the word performance, but I think that anytime you're on stage or anytime you have to do anything in front of people, there's a performance element that happens, so I can very quickly get into performance mode where it's like I'm not so loosey-goosey, kind of like, let's just have a cup of coffee in the lobby, you know what I mean? It's like I'm kind of in the back of my mind, I'm checking the clock to be like, oh wait, I have to sing again in 5 minutes, you know what I mean? Or I have to I need to make sure I tell that one whatever, the band
announcement,
announcement, or I have to make sure I talk to Charlie to make sure everything's okay, and then I'll check in with you to make sure you're okay. So it's like, you kind of get into that rhythm, and then Monday rolls around, and you're like, all right, I can chill now. I can chill.
Yeah. You know what? Some Sunday we're just gonna flip it around. Some Sunday we'll just put 2 chairs up there, a couple mics. We'll grab our coffee. We'll just come up. We'll have a coffee table between us. We'll just have a conversation for about half an hour.
Let's do it.
See how that flies.
Yeah, let's do it.
It might be the last time, but we'll give it one of these days. We'll do that.
We'll do that. Yeah, there you go. And then you're gonna have like new people come, and they'll be like, "This is the greatest thing ever." And then they back to me and my guitar, and they're like, "What's up with this guy? Who does this guy think he is?"
No. Well, I had a funny conversation about the Unhurried, our podcast this week. A dad, I don't know how it came up, but this dad was that goes to our church was in the lobby. It was during the week, and someone, I think it was Andrew, brought up the podcast, and he goes, "Oh, I'm an avid listener And I go, oh, really?
Nice.
He goes, but not for the reason you think.
Oh,
I
okay.
go, okay.
Cool.
He goes, because he goes, I enjoy it and everything, but he goes, every time I get in the car with my 2 kids, or a couple, he has 3 kids, but his 2 older kids, they're like 14 years and 11 years old. Every time he gets in the car, his kids say to him, Dad, turn on the podcast. Turn on Unhurried.
Nice.
He says his kids want to listen to it
Cool.
in the car all the time. So he listens to it
Nice.
because they're always like begging him to play it while they're in the car.
Yeah.
So I love that. So a shout out. The dad's name is Ted. A shout out to the 2 kids. I won't mention their names, but they're.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna throw a little. This is gonna be a little eavesdrop or a little Easter egg.
Okay.
For who one of the kids are. So
okay.
29. That's all I'm gonna say.
29 means
29.
something to one of them.
It means something to one of them.
All right.
And they'll get it.
All right. I don't get it, but that's all right. Well, here's another little Easter egg. I was told by the dad that the younger one, the 11-year-old boy, every time they put it on, he goes, I hope there's a contest today. I hope there's a contest. And we haven't had a contest in a little while.
Yeah.
So for him,
right.
I hope he's listening.
Right.
I'm gonna throw in a contest for
nice.
this week.
There you go.
Right?
Cool. Let's go.
We have some more of these. We still have a few of the Unhurried puck/bottle openers that have
nice.
been made for us. So I've got one that I've autographed.
Very cool. That is
right?
cool. Good idea.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
I'm here for
anyway,
it.
Unhurried with Doug Kyle, autographed. And let's say you can have it autographed by myself or Ryan, whoever you choose. So
you have a better signature.
All you need to do is you need to come up to us on Sunday morning.
Sure.
Until they're all gone and say, what's this? What are we gonna have them say?
I don't. Oof, let me think about this.
Last time we had a good one. It was
get in the car.
We're late.
I know. And people keep still saying that to me, which is so good.
Well,
yeah.
So we'll have something we'll say during this podcast.
Okay, that'll be it.
We'll go. That's it.
Okay.
And that will be the expression. And before we're done with this podcast, we will give you the expression that you need to say to us, the phrase, on Sunday morning, and you'll get not only just a bottle of 2 sides to every puck bottle opener, Unhurried puck, you also get an autograph on it, too.
Wow.
We really raised the stakes here.
I love it.
Well, we're in the middle of this podcast series with kind of a long-term perspective. We call it Hope is on the Horizon, and we're looking at the way the second coming of Jesus changes the way we live today, how the hope of his soon return will transform the way we think about life today, and living our lives with that long-term perspective, that future goal, sort of living a little bit with a spiritual telescope that it brings that event kind of up close and present for us, and how that would change the way we would operate on a daily basis. We're using 1 Thessalonians as our guide for that. Every chapter of 1 Thessalonians ends with allusion to Jesus' second coming. And so we're sort of hope scrolling through 1 Thessalonians. Every time we get to the end of the chapter, we spend a little bit of time there landing on that promise and that hope that we have. And so here's a quote from the Message, and that is this reminder of Jesus' second coming is a sort of reminder that our lives are meant to be shaped by eternity, and that our minds need to be retrained by hope. And use kind of I thought it was just a good hook, a way to get people into the idea on Sunday morning by talking about Gilligan's Island. Did you ever watch Gilligan's Island?
Of course I did.
Of course you did.
I'm not that young.
I don't. I'm just saying I don't know, because I mean it's running all the time, but I don't know if it's like just you know, my experience, my kids' experience, or other people too. So you know the characters.
Yeah, well, because when I was growing up, like your kids, there was Nick at Night. Yeah, which I don't know if you guys. Nick at Night. So I watched all of the old Dream of Jeannie and Gilligan's Island and I Love Lucy and all of those shows. Yeah, I loved them all. Family Matters and Full House, I guess, stuff like that. Oh man, those shows are the best.
All right. Well, so it was funny when I said, "Who remembers Gilligan's Island?" And like just about everybody in the room was like, "Oh yeah, we know Gilligan."
Oh yeah.
And so, but the reason I brought the analogy up is because, or the illustration up, is because the Dawn Wells, who played the character Mary Ann,
Right.
was the only one who had the foresight to negotiate into her contract to be paid for reruns after 5 years.
Yeah.
So all the cast members after 1972 didn't get a penny from a show that has run for over 50 years, except for she and now her family are getting royalties for the show.
Right.
And we all have those, man, if only I'd go back and I would have changed something, invested in something, done something, what a difference that would have made to have that long-term perspective like she did.
Right.
And so we're also thinking about that, how that ties into a long-term perspective for us. But, it got me thinking, because when our kids were little, I would use Gilligan's Island as a way of telling them stories at night.
Nice.
They had not seen Gilligan's Island yet. I think they were maybe too young. I mean, I don't know if you can be too young but just they hadn't seen Gilligan's Island. But I would tell, like, sometimes bedtime stories. I would just use all the characters, because I knew the plot. The plot was all the same. Something happens. Gilligan's blows it. He does something stupid, and then they
yell at him.
Their hope of getting off the island is dashed again.
Right.
So I would sing the song.
Yeah.
The opening song.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it right now.
Just do it right now.
I'm not.
As long as it's under 30 seconds, we're fine. We won't get the video taken out.
Right back, and I'll tell you a tale of a fateful trip. Yeah, so I'd just do the whole thing. I'd sing through it, and then all the characters and everything, and then I would just make up some story about Gilligan, doing some knucklehead move, and they don't get off the island, but it was always a lighthearted, happy thing. Well, then a few years later, I go, we should watch, some old reruns of Gilligan's Island. So I put them on, and all my kids look at me and go, "That's how the song goes?" They heard the song, and they're going, "You didn't sing that. You never sang. That's not how you sounded at all." They're going, "Oh, that's how it goes." So
That's cold. Cold.
They didn't mean to be. They were genuinely like,
"Wait a minute.
Oh, that's what you were trying to do when you were singing that song."
That's funny. I love that. I love that.
So I was going, "What do you mean? I thought I was perfect." No, nope, not even close.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. The kids will always be there to keep you humble.
They keep you humble for sure.
Although my son, he thinks the world of me, which is so
singing, or just in general.
Just in general.
Yeah,
just in general.
Yeah,
he does.
you're his hero.
And
of
then,
course.
Of course, and but also of you.
Nice.
He also thinks the world of you, and so he is already kind of laying the groundwork that he's like, "Okay, you work with Pastor Doug," and I go, "Yes," and Pastor Doug works at the church, and I go, "Yeah," and then he goes, "Well, who does Pastor Doug work for?" And I go, "Well, there's a board and there's overseers, and but ultimately, it's his calling, and this is, what he goes. That's what I want to do. I want to be Pastor Doug's boss." I go, "Okay, Remy. I love the confidence,
He can start right away.
Just sign him up, right?
Sign him up. That's fine.
There's a meeting tomorrow at 11. There's one on Wednesday at 10:30.
Yeah, I'll be there. Remy, tell me what to do.
Yeah, please.
Let's go. I love it. Well, I think we're going to come back to that, because that's good. The idea of just how Remy looks up to you as a dad. Yeah. I'm going to circle back to that.
Okay.
We'll
circle back.
Tuck that away.
Okay.
Because it actually ties into something I want to say later
nice. There
as
you
well.
Go.
But part of in this series, what we're doing too is we're contrasting the hope that we have in Christ with the doom scrolling that's so prevalent today, and just how we can just get overwhelmed and just in despair over things that we worry about or get concerned about, or the things that really flood our phones primarily, and then into our minds and into our hearts. And as we think about that, I came across a term that shows. Well, I should backtrack. I'm going to say that what I want to talk about today, when it comes to long-term perspective, is how valuable relationships are. That's the kind of the focus of our conversation on Sunday, was that if Christ is returning, which he is, then that's going to change the way we see our relationships, and it's going to give them much more, my convictions are going to give them much more value and importance than we give them ordinarily in life. And I see that a lot of times one of the drawbacks of our phones is that it's removing us from people. It's pulling us away from real relationships. Right. It's supposed to connect us, but it actually robs us of these real-time relationships that we can have with people, because our phones sort of become these barriers between us and the people around us. And so as we think about that, have you heard the term fubbing?
Fubbing?
Fubbing.
No.
All right, I'm going to introduce something to you.
Wow.
All right, fubbing is spelled P-H.
Okay.
U-B-B-I-N-G. And it's a blend of the word phone and snubbing. So to be fubbing is to fub someone is to snub them with your phone.
Wow.
It's the act of ignoring someone where you're paying attention to your phone instead of them. To be, sitting in a restaurant with a real person, and you or both of you, it's kind of looking at your phone the whole time,
right,
rather than interacting with a person. So it can. There've actually now, it's been chronicled and researched enough to say that this actually has really destructive impact on relationships. That you're sitting in the same room with someone, but you're completely ignoring them because your phone is getting all the attention. And it can be really harmful to relationships. So it's now become kind of a term, and it to me, it just reinforces the idea that our smartphones, which are supposed to connect us and are really great tools in our lives, can also be destructive and harmful as well. I even feel this way at home when I'm like looking at my phone. Sometimes my dog comes up to me and I'm like in the middle of something on my phone, and he's like, "Hey, I want some attention," and he'll just nudge the hand that I have the phone in, like, put that away. I want some attention right now. And I'm going, I think I'm fubbing my dog right now, So it can pull us away from those relationships that are important.
Yeah.
And I had a kind of a quote on this in the message. I said, instead of engaging with others, our digital consumption can actually put a wedge between us and the person right in front of us. And so that just kind of reinforces kind of a part of what we wanted. Maybe just an angle on this conversation that we're having this month is just the idea that a lot of things that rob us of our hope are these digital devices that we carry around in our pockets everywhere we go.
Yeah. Well, they can also be very frustrating too. Yeah. Like 2 weeks ago, like we just had just one of those days where it's like everything technical just wasn't working, and you're like, you become so reliant on it, and then it's distraction, and then now you've become like this almost like, I have to do this to be able to do this, and now it's not working, and now you're frustrated. You know what I mean? Where it's like, before it was just a simpler time without all of the technology sometimes. You know? So, So you can do a lot of cool things, but then it's also a lot of frustration too.
Yeah. And so in case I come across sounding like, I'm anti-phone or anti-technology in that same message that I gave that quote, and so you and I don't sound that way because we're both, use our phones a lot for hopefully good things.
Right.
I did say in that same message yesterday that Paul wrote a letter, but today we can send a text when it comes to connecting with people. So our phones are definitely a great way to connect with people, especially if they're not right in front of you.
Right.
But we don't want them to keep us from connecting with the people that are in front of us.
Exactly.
Well.
Yeah, I had a buddy that's been going through a lot of stuff recently, and the only way to get a hold of him was through text messages.
Yeah.
And so he would write me these long because he'd go periods of time where he wasn't able to get on a phone. But he'd write me these long, what they call like novels, right?
Yeah.
Like these long text messages. And I would just rattle, one off to him. And that's just kind of where it sat. But it was like, that's a positive in using technology that,
Yes.
Where he was like kind of gone for a few days, but then he would be back and I could reach out to him and he knew that there would be like a message basically waiting for him when he got his phone
There's
back,
somebody there.
There was somebody there. Exactly.
Yeah, somebody that cared about him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can do a lot of great things with technology also,
Yeah. So we're not suggesting you throw your phone in the ocean.
No, please don't.
We're just saying
download the podcast first. Listen to it. Then throw it in the ocean.
Then figure out what you got to do. But let's use it wisely, and let's raise the value of relationships once again, real-time relationships, and don't let it get in the way of that. Well, today from 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, I want to live with some metaphors that Paul uses. I mentioned them in the message, but I didn't have a chance to really develop them at all. And he uses 4 very interesting family kinds of metaphors that I think really inform the way we think about our relationships with people as well. And so I want to describe each of those relationships that he uses and realize that in each one he kind of gives us a picture of the kind of relationships that we're called to have as well, these family relationships. And I'll just list them really quickly. He talks about being a mother, being a father, being a child, and being an orphan. 4 different family kinds of connections. And I think this is not just, that's interesting that Paul used that analogy here once, because you see it throughout his writings that he has those kinds of metaphors in mind when he thinks about our relationships with the people that we care about. For example, in 1 Timothy 5, the first couple verses, he says, Paul writes, "Do not rebuke an older man harshly, but exhort him as if he were your father." So, treat him like a father. He says, "Treat younger men as brothers, older women as mothers, and younger women as sisters with absolute purity." And so Paul has this idea in mind that the way that we're supposed to relate to one another sort of follows a family model a little bit, even in the family of God. And to think about kind of these different categories, to me, is a helpful way to think about the way we're called to treat each other as well. So let me just live with these a little bit and bounce these off you,
Sure.
Ryan, and see if this kind of makes sense for our listeners as well. The first one, and maybe the most surprising, analogy that he uses, is that of a mother. He says, "We were like a mother to you when we were there ministering to you," and it wasn't just a mother. He says a nursing mother. So it's the idea of a very young mother who's still nursing her child, and to me, it says something about Paul and the team that was with him when they were there planning that church, but also says something about the believers. They were in such a fragile, young state that they just needed to be constantly nourished by God's word and poured into. And for Paul, the analogy that comes to mind is like a mother nursing her young. It's in the same way Paul was saying, you were spiritual infants. You were just babies in the Lord. And we were pouring nourishment into your life, the Word of God, and just getting you kind of the basic sustenance of the spiritual life. Right. And I think it's kind of a cool, analogy that Paul uses, and surprising because I don't think I would expect that from him so much.
Yeah, I like that analogy. That's really cool, and and that's such a great moment and experience, for moms and babies and even fathers,
even the dads, to be a part of it.
You feel very like you want to protect them and you want to make sure that they have their time together and stuff. And then especially if you have older kids, it's kind of like, okay, mommy's busy, what I mean? Like kind of a thing. You're like, okay, so now it's like it kind of heightens everything a little bit, and you kind of go, all right, I can handle the other kids while you have some time with the baby and, are doing this. And so, it's great. I love that analogy. It's beautiful.
It's such a, to me, it's such an image of just how fragile and how small and delicate and how needy they are at that stage. And all of us probably have people in our lives that are sort of just either physically, but I'm thinking more now spiritually, who are in a place where they're just barely tiptoeing their toes in the spiritual waters. They're just starting out in the spiritual life, and they just need that constant nourishment and that care and almost that just tenderness of just really gently caring for them at that stage. And so that analogy to me reminds me there's people in our lives that are probably like that we sort of serve that role. I'm kind of working my way from youngest on up. So that's the entry level people in our lives that are just kind of just starting out. They're new and they're growing and they need that kind of care. But then Paul also compares himself just a few verses later to being like a father with them. And that passage really, to me, pictures, he doesn't say this, but to me, the picture that comes to mind is more like a teenager, where he talks about being a father who encourages them, comforts them, and urges them to live a life worthy of God. And so there's this kind of balance of how much encouragement and comfort and how much urging and challenge you give them. And that's that fine line that I think, especially as dads, you see as your kids are growing up, like when do they need a challenge and when do they need a little bit of comfort. And in the same day, within 5 minutes, it could go from one to the other. It just goes back and forth. And the wisdom that you need to know, okay, they need a hug or a kick in the pants. Which is it? Which way do they go? Not a literal kick in the pants, but you know what I mean.
Sometimes I've thought about it. It's crossed my mind.
It crossed your mind. All right. So there's people in our lives that are like they're growing and they're moving along and they're making progress and they're kind of coming into their own. And we need the discernment to know, do they need encouragement right now, just keep going, or do they need a challenge? You need to step up. You need to understand this. You need to see this. You need to factor this in. Those kinds of things. And I think there's not just as us as church staff, but all of our listeners too. This is kind of a role that they've been given, not just within their own families. It's easy to think about it in your family, but just even the people in your lives. They're making some progress, and now they need the wisdom of someone, a spiritual leader in their life or a mentor, who is really both comforting, encouraging, but also challenging. Right.
I find that experience a lot with now that my kids are sports age, so I'm coaching now and things like that, and figuring out the kids that respond really well to, more constructive criticism, or the kids that are just don't respond to that at all, or just respond to like, hey, you're doing a great job. Like keep going. You know what I mean? Like you'll figure it out. Like it, we'll get there. You know what I mean? Kind of a thing. So figuring all of that out has been, probably my most favorite part about coaching is the different coaching styles that you have, a team of, 7 or 8 kids, and they're all so different, each one, So.
I think about when I was Little League coach, there was kids who need, hey, good job, keep it up, you're doing great. And others like, keep your eye on the ball. Don't, stay focused. You need to they need to be reminded of that too, and to see how they respond, and it's not just what I'm supposed to do, but what do they need?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Like I have a conversation on the bench every Saturday with one of the kids, and it's always, what are we having for snack? And I go, I don't know. I literally could not guess. But it's become a fun little banter. I actually look forward to it now.
You know that's going to happen.
I know it's going to happen. Yeah. Like I know I know without fail we're going to be halfway during the game, and I'm going to be managing the lines and, talking to Remington, who's out there, and, like giving him certain signals, because he's my guy, so I got to give him certain signals, and every single time, hey coach, I go, what's going on? What's for snack? I go, I literally could not, I don't know. My wife does the team managing, so I have no idea what the schedule is. I go, I couldn't even tell you whose parent it is. It might be yours. Like I have no idea.
It might be me.
I
don't know.
No idea.
It might be us. I don't know.
idea. But guess what? In 15 minutes, we're all going to find out.
We'll all know. That's so funny. That's so funny.
I go, you ready? Okay,
Yeah.
get back out there.
Yeah. You should surprise him and ask him what's for snack before he asks.
Oh,
next
that
time.
would be hilarious.
Hey,
That's
buddy.
so funny.
What's
Hey.
for snack today? Have you found out yet? Oh, okay.
You're my snack guy. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
You should find out. I need
I
to know.
should find out. That would be so funny.
Yeah. That's great. Well, that's a good analogy then. Just having that wisdom to kind of know how to the goal is just to move them forward, whatever they need.
Yes.
They need some encouragement, or they
Right.
need some challenge.
Right. Exactly.
And the wisdom to know.
Yeah.
The next analogy I think is really interesting too, that Paul compares himself to being like a child with them. And he says, we were like a child to you. And to me, that really speaks of the respect and the humility that Paul brought into the relationship. When he arrived there, he wasn't like, I'm this great leader and you guys all need to listen to me. He came really to serve.
Yeah.
And to serve them and to bring the gospel to them, but in a way that really honored them, respected them. And he was he chose a position of humility as he brought that in, like a child. And I like that a lot. And if you think about, there are people in our lives that are physically older than us, but also those who are spiritually, further along than we are. And to have just that sort of childlike approach to them, to be respectful to them, in honoring. And there's people in our lives that are further ahead, and I think we forget about that sometimes. Maybe this is the thing that would be good to underscore. We forget that they also need something from us too. Just because they're maybe further along than us, we some kind of feel like, oh, I'm the one that's the needy one here, not them.
Right.
They've got a few more miles on their spiritual odometer, and it's like, no, they still need that respect, that encouragement, and that sense of just honoring them. And it could be, the Bible says to honor our parents. It could be physically and relationally with the real people in our lives, but it can be those who just are in that role in your life. Right. And to give them honor and give them respect, I think is really valuable, and another category that we need to be thinking about.
Yeah. I had a mentor that said that when you are mentoring someone, you don't always necessarily choose who you're mentoring. They choose you to mentor them. Okay. And I've always taken that concept with me, because I basically chose him to mentor me. And then, now I'm aware of it now. Yes, and so
you go, hey, come to think of it, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where I was like, oh, well, there you go. That's why I chose you. I guess that's why I chose you, because you're so wise. And so, so I keep that in mind when in my relationships with people that are older or people that are even younger than me. It's like, what role am I playing right now? Am I being mentored into? Have I chosen you to mentor into me, or has someone chosen me to mentor into them?
Yes.
So
yes. Yeah. Right. That's good. That's really good. Yeah. So that's a third category to think about, those who are further along than us, and we can really show them honor and respect. Maybe a little bit like Paul talked about the verse I mentioned earlier in 1 Timothy, when he says, do not rebuke an older man harshly, but exhort him as if he were your father, and then about older women as mothers. And so there's that familial respect that is the way we treat each other, even as we encourage or show respect. It's all or push along in their spiritual life. It's all with that kind of respect that goes along with it, and just learn from them too. Learn from their experiences. Yeah. We've got a retired pastor in our church, and man, I love just hearing his stories. Yeah. He's been around longer than me. And quite a bit longer actually, and he just now he's kind of in those tender late years of his life, but I love hearing his stories and,
me too.
Talking to him about it. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I keep throwing out these surprising metaphors, but this one to me really at first surprised me, and then I go, that's really cool. He also compares himself to being like an orphan, and the idea there the more I thought about it, I don't think what Paul, well, the context is that Paul had to leave town quickly. He was there working with the Thessalonians, and then there was this opposition and this mob riot, and a lot of persecution for the Christians, especially the Christian leaders there. And so Paul had to, under the cover of darkness, they just scurried him away and got him out of there. And so you kind of get the sense in which he was like dragged away from them and couldn't really finish the work that he wanted to do. And he uses the analogy of being orphaned, like we were just snatched away, no longer connected to you. But I don't feel like he was seeing them as like his parents that he had been orphaned from, as much as he's seeing them as his fellow brothers and sisters. But he was pulled away from the family. He didn't get to be in the family.
Right.
He was pulled away, and that certainly describes how distant he was feeling from them and how much he longed to be reunited with him. But I think this is a good analogy for those relationships in our lives that we feel some distance. We feel like we're peers, side by side, brothers and sisters. But there's been, for whatever reason, just circumstantially or otherwise, there's been some time and some distance there, and you feel disconnected. And this reminder to make the effort when it makes sense to reach out and to reconnect and make sure that you continue to have that. We're walking side by side. There's some people that I don't talk to that often, and some people I talk to a lot, but I want that feeling that when we're together, it feels like we haven't missed a beat.
Yes.
We know that we're on the same team. We know that we're partnering together in this walk with Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a buddy of mine who he's just not like the pick up a phone or even text. Like if you need a response from him, I just text him and I know, okay, I need a response from him in 4 days. So I'll text him today.
Yeah.
you know,
it's Monday. Let me see. Maybe I hear him this weekend.
Maybe I'll get it by Friday, maybe, you know, but I just know that about him. He's just not that guy, you know, but
it's not me, right?
No, it's not you.
Okay.
No, not you. No.
I didn't know if you were just sending me a little message here.
No. Doug, reply to your text messages, please. No. But it's one of those things where it's like when we do, connect finally, it's like nothing ever stopped. You know what I mean? It's like the conversation never stopped. You know what I mean? We can just pick up right where we left off. You know what I mean? So, some people are just kind of, like that, where they just aren't always communicating, but that shouldn't stop you from reaching out, and making sure that they know that you're there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's a really, to me, a beautiful picture here of how Paul, though he couldn't be with them physically, he reached out and wrote them a letter and made that connection, and he communicated to them, we're in the same family. And it's just like this is a necessary separation right now. And of course, Paul had other things that God had for him to do. And so he wasn't going to be with them a whole lot, but they were still brothers and sisters, and we were still connected. We were still, he took the time to write that letter. And I think there's maybe even now as we're talking about this, there'll be people coming to mind for our listeners that go, I'm just going to reach out. I'm going to send a text. I'm going to write a letter maybe, or make a phone call. Right. I'm going to set something up, to get coffee with them, and just do something to, and again, that I'm not saying that you have to do that with everybody in your life. It'd be impossible to do so, but there may be people that God's prompting you right now that you should.
Yeah, and I think you should, because I love the part also it might be in that same passage in verse 17 or 18 where he says that we were separated in person but not in thought.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah, that was great.
So nice.
In person, not in thought.
That's brilliant. I'm going to take that and make that my own now. So I love that. I love that he wrote that in there. So.
But people might not know we're thinking about them. Paul then took the extra step to write the letter so that they knew he was thinking about them too. Right,
exactly.
And that, to me, is great. I've got a place where in my a file that I have in my on my emails, they're just called encouragement. And every now and then someone will just write a note or something. It's like they don't realize how much it means to me. And I'm just storing those.
Nice.
Those just mean so much
to
me. And the idea is I'll go back and read them every now and then. And that's I think we don't realize just how much it probably meant to the Thessalonians that Paul said in person, but not in thought,
Right.
like you're saying, and how when we let people know, hey, I've been thinking about you.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Exactly.
And that just goes a long way.
Yeah. I do have another friend who I do text and I say, I'm thinking about you. And he always texts me back, why? So you might have some sarcastic people in your life, and he's one of them. So it's all right.
That says a lot about him and you, doesn't it?
He's a goofball,
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, then our relationships can fall into one of these categories. There are those who are younger than us, at least spiritually, that need nourishing and nurturing. There are those who are growing and they need guidance, both encouragement as well as challenge. There are those who are older than us that deserve our respect, and those who are peers who we just need to stay connected with and say, hey, we're in this journey together.
Yeah.
Not in person, but in thought.
Yeah.
We're together. Yeah. And many times it can be a blend. The same person can kind of fall into different categories.
Sure.
I mean, if you think about it, the Thessalonians fell in all four of these categories for Paul. And so the same, people can, different situations call for different roles, categories that we kind of think about. So there's a lot more overlap here than maybe it makes it sound. All these things are sort of at work in many of our relationships.
Yeah, very much so. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I hope that's been encouragement to you. Do we come up with a phrase for the unhurried puck? What's it going to be?
The only thing I can think of is what's for snack.
There you
go. Coach, what's for snack?
Yeah. What's for snack today?
What's for snack today?
What's for snack today?
He even asked me. We have practice too. And we only have snack for games.
But he'll ask you during practice.
He'll ask me during practice. I don't, whatever you're in and out.
Whatever your parents
pick up on the way home.
Yes, because
I'm like, I don't know.
What's in your mom's purse? I don't know.
I slap a puck away. Go get it. I shoot it down the rink.
All right. So if you come up to us on Sunday and you say, what's for snack today?
What's for snack today?
We will go, and I hope especially this young guy that wanted a contest.
Yeah, there you go.
Is one of them. We will give you an unhurried puck, and you can get either my autograph or Ryan's.
Doug's autograph is better. I'm just letting that be known.
Ryan's might get you more on online. Maybe if you put it up for auction.
Yeah, $1.
$1 going once. All right, so that's the prize, and hopefully we have just a lot of people coming up to us. The first person that says it, I'm going to do a double take. Oh yeah, that's right.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you, Ryan. Thank you for just having the time to talk.
Of course, thank you, Doug.
Thank you for being one of those that my brother in this.
Yes, of course. Together. Yeah.
We're together right now, but you're always on my thoughts, so I appreciate you.
Same.
Till next time, this has been Unhurried with me, your host, Doug Kyle, and I look forward to talking soon.